I have come to the conclusion that a bunch of so-called journalists in the legacy media have decided that you are stupid. Stupid, I tell you. They apparently think they could tell you crap was candy and you would eat it.
I have to say, Dr. Phil has been rather funny lately with some of his takes. I had to kind of rush and I forgot to grab something to drink. So give me just a second and let me go run to the kitchen and grab a drink real quick. I'll be right back, just less than a minute. Just give me 1 second. In fact, you know what? I'm not even going to turn on the Be Right Back screen. I'll just be right back so fast it'll be a flash. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I wasn't even thinking. But I realized it was so close to the time when I was going to be... it was like 30 seconds left. I was like, oh, no. Well, I'll just play the intro, whatever. And I didn't want to keep postponing any longer. I wanted to make sure this show got off today. Last show was pretty embarrassing once again because, well... To be frank, I guess it's all pretty much out on the table now because it's in the description. It's on X right now, and unfortunately, that's just once again the reality of the situation, and I can't really do much about it directly other than try to keep my spirits up and hope that. See, there has been a couple of times where technically I probably could have squeezed in the episode, but to be honest, it's like even if I do it, is it gonna even be worth trying to hurry up and put the effort in, because I'm not gonna be able to react and say anything that's gonna be important, interesting, funny, or in any way of value to really anybody, and I just don't feel like it's probably the best idea. So, I mean, there's also that factored in. I'm not here to put out a crappy show. I'm here to put out a show that people actually would enjoy, hopefully. And if I know that I'm not going to be able to do that, I'm not going to just waste everybody's time and put something crappy out. As much as it sucks, because, like I've said a couple of times in the last few episodes, I don't know how I went from the first 2 months. I basically kept up a consistent, with some hiccups, but basically kept up a pretty consistent schedule of one show every day except for Sunday, and even on the day where I missed an episode, I would do Sunday instead, and then still have 6 out of 7 days of the week where I do a show, and it was usually about 2 hours, maybe a little more, a little less. And then all of a sudden, after a couple months, all these things just started boom, 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 left and right, everything going wrong. I don't know how that happened so drastically, but if it was going to happen to somebody, it would happen to me, because just for some reason I have luck like that, and it just it keeps piling on. But I will say this, and I'm just going to emphasize it. I know I say it all the time, but I really want to make sure I emphasize this very strongly. I'm too dug in on this, and when I get, I was just talking about this with somebody else, and when I get dug in, I don't know if it's my sort of hard-headed, bullish kind of attitude of I'm doing it, God damn it, even if it sucks and I don't even care about it, I'm gonna get the damn thing done, or if it's just out of sense of sort of making up for things that didn't work out before, and trying to make sure that this time I actually, if something does ultimately go wrong, ultimately there's not one thing I can blame, even if, like, to the point where, like, no matter what I could have done, everything that was in my power wasn't enough. Like, I want to be able to say that. That's what I've really wanted to be able to say for everything. And I can say that pretty much about everything because, as I told you guys before, when it came to music or any form of any kind of business or employment kind of venture that I've been in, all the way up to tattooing, I felt like I did pretty much everything I could, and when things didn't work out, it wasn't because I didn't do the best I could possibly do. It was because of something else, which sucks. But that's, at least I can say that it's left me with a sense of feeling like you did everything you could do. So I don't have any regrets about the situation, and that's the way I'm with this. That's the way I kind of treat this as well. Is that, like, if something ends up ending my ability to do a stream and do a daily show live, it's going to it's not going to be anything that I will look back and say that I could have done something more to keep it going. So, and I think that also, considering the fact that like I said before, I've had a couple other endeavors. They weren't exactly always the most serious, but there was at least one or two that I really actually put some serious amount of effort into, and hoped were going to be able to amount to something. And they didn't really ever feel like they were getting any kind of momentum even to go anywhere. Whereas, when you feel like you're accomplishing something, you get that feeling of like you want to keep going, because you get that kind of positive feedback loop where it's like, all right, man, it's almost like you get that dopamine rush where it's like, yes, I did something right. And it wasn't as strong there because I knew we were getting some pretty regular turnout, but I knew that wasn't going to expand anywhere. And I did also kind of figure out that basically the idea of a gaming channel right now, especially if you're just someone like me who's, I never have been into the newest, most popular game that comes out. I've been into, there's not really any rhyme or reason why I've been into the games I've been into. I just, whatever tickles my fancy at any particular time, that's going to be what I end up playing. And so that's not exactly a great marketing strategy if you were to come up with it for a way to pitch a gaming channel on any of the live streaming platforms. And honestly, I'm glad it isn't, because I don't really think that was me at my best anyway. I don't think I had the ability to really think through what I was wanting to say, and I could say in the best way when I was. I hate to say this, but I don't multitask very well at all. I'm very bad at it. I know a lot of people are really, they kind of train themselves in a lot of ways to get much better at multitasking, especially if they do something involving any kind of media or anything online that involves, like, at the bare minimum, putting yourself out there in some way for entertainment purposes for other people. Anybody who does that is going to kind of have some degree of not necessarily nervousness, but they're going to react to it in a certain way, no matter what anybody says. Everybody tries to say that it doesn't really bother me. When it's like, that can be true, but you're going to be feeling something. It's not like you're going to just feel like, unless you're like a complete sociopath and you don't feel anything about anything. But if you're a normal human being, you're going to feel a range of emotions over something like putting yourself out on a platform for the world to be able to see, you behaving in your personal environment where you spend most of your time. And anyway, I'm sorry, I shouldn't even keep getting off on this tangent. It's so weird. But the point is that I am not going to. I'm not going to just like say I'm hoping things are good because right now things are just so up in the air that all I can say is that at every opportunity I will be here as much as I can, but I definitely can't say with any degree of certainty whatsoever that it'll be a consistent here every day. I mean, I couldn't do that already, but I mean, it's not really, I would say, worse per se. It's just like, it's just more solidified that, yeah, this is where things are going to kind of be a bit of an issue and you're going to have to navigate this, correctly. Sucks, but that's the way it goes. So yeah, I just want to make sure I let everybody know that that's where I'm at, and that's where I hope that we can move on from it as soon as possible. But I can't really put any guarantees on it, and I don't want. But once again, as I've said so many times before, I am going nowhere. This show is going nowhere, and don't ever think that it's going away or I'm not going to continue unless you hear directly from me, and I will make sure to announce this to everybody if there was some reason I was canceling the show, unless it's coming from me saying yes, I can't do the show anymore, then I'm not even considering it. So don't worry about that unless you actually see some kind of sign that that's true. And I wouldn't exactly consider a lot of things that people say about fighting games in general or a match in general. Nice. I don't know exactly what fan or fam friend me. Definitely not my show. But anyway. Sorry. Oh man, that's good. By the way, sparkling water. Es Pellegrino, not booze. I said before I don't drink, but anyway. So let's get on with it because that's enough of the downer stuff. Let's get on with the fun stuff. Mainly to kind of go back to Dr. Phil, which is funny in and of itself. He's absolutely right, but it's not just the media. I don't know how in depth you've been able to kind of get a view of the current batch of protesters we've got going on these days. But I gotta say, for shame to whoever out there is organizing this group, because man, these are the most sad, pathetic, loser group of people we'd ever see outside of anything making some kind of attempt to protest this. And I mean, if you were to see this bunch, I would just be laughing like, wait, where are you from? And like, I drove for 2 hours to get up here. Why? For this stupid, ridiculous demonstration to point out evil Musk? Are you kidding me? It's so, oh man, it's so desperate, and the messaging is, it's just, I mean, you can't get better symbolism than Cory Booker's pathetic speech on the floor for 25 hours saying nothing. I swear, I was telling somebody, they couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe that there was nothing that was like they were hearing mixed messages that they had no idea exactly what he was trying to accomplish. And I basically explained like, well, typically that happens to prevent a vote from going on or prevent something from going to the floor that they don't want to see go to the floor. But nothing was coming to the floor. There wasn't a vote. There wasn't a resolution. There wasn't anything that was being considered. Like, nothing was going on, but he just kept speaking about how he's been inadequate. And well, we knew that. He's been inadequate about probably everything. I'm sorry, it's too easy. But it's just the desperation of this party. It has no bottom. It's just like the desperation keeps getting more and more desperate, and it's unbelievable how much they rely on this nonsense to fuel their parties void of any kind of policy or decision making of any kind. There's not one remedy or relief or alternative that are ever like considered or discussed or brought up at all. They don't ever do that. They cite what cameras and what microphones sometimes, like they cite that stuff for people who are looking, but it I don't know. It's just well, okay, hold on. Let me stop and kind of go back for a second. So, there were those, and there still are the Tesla and Elon Musk sort of violent sort of protests and angry protests that literally have people firebombing Tesla dealerships, firebombing Tesla recharge stations, Molotov cocktails into businesses, firing shots from different weapons at Tesla dealerships. Just anything related to Elon Musk. If someone driving a car, to the point that some people have been writing little messages on their car to try and make sure nobody does any damage to it. But man, even with that as the even with that as a mindset, it's still hard as hell to reconcile the idea that we're supposed to be in any way, shape, or form taking these people seriously who don't know a thing about what they're talking about. Let's just be clear about this part. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're protesting. They don't know why they're protesting it. They don't know the reason that any of this is supposedly happening. They don't even seem to know anything about what is happening other than the notion, and the only one, which, believe me, we'll go into detail. I'm just not getting there yet. But the only whole giant policy anger and debate are coming in from what's it? Well, no, I take that back. There are other people who are trying to kind of do that, but they're not very successful, obviously, because this dude pretty much, well, I say this dude, there's too many people that are I don't know how to, man, it's really hard to describe the people because it's so nondescript. It's just like an amalgamous blob of nothing that here we go. I need to be over this way. Sorry about that. I should be more in frame. But it really is. It's this blob of absolutely nothing that heard the talking point about how Trump and Elon are going to take away Social Security, and people believe it so strongly they're willing to commit vandalism and arson and God knows how many different crimes and misdemeanors and complaints of any kind, like civil complaints. Who knows how much they're actually being like. Well, I'll put it this way: I would hate to be, if I was actually concerned with enforcing the law in any way. I would be very, very concerned about this situation with your two kids. Three or four? I think it's just three right now. I haven't talked to her in quite a while, but I'm speaking about one person. I don't even know if she's not even political, but it's like your average person. Like, what are they getting out of it? Because one thing that's really apparent is, and this makes sense, obviously, there's a lot of people who are like in their late 50s, early 60s in a lot of these protests, which is the exact kind of opposite of like the George Floyd riots that got everybody up in arms so, um, but, um, what? Hmm. Well, okay, we'll start getting into some clips, I guess, and you can get the idea of what I mean, because well, I'm sure you've heard this, like, and I've heard this so many times now, and it's really starting to drive me nuts because for all the kind of criticisms and anger and things that people would maybe consider to be an unfortunate, like, wait, no, it's not. It sounded like somebody said no, but nothing is happening really organically. You just hear generic calls about how Trump is doing this and it's terrible, Elon is doing this and it's terrible, and they don't tell you what they're doing, like, exactly. They just give it some kind of buzzword blanket term that really doesn't mean it's true or not. Just okay, all right. I'll keep it fair, guys. It's fine. It is funny because I just, I don't know. What do you do when that's the situation? When the protesters don't really seem to want anything? Because, well, I mean, what they want is obviously everything to be kind of demolished and rebuilt in the name of the Democrat Party. But, any self-respecting person, it doesn't have to even be on the right, or like, you could even be a Democrat that doesn't fall in line with this freaking, nonsense. But either way, somehow they believe it. So they go up to the tool shed. They do that, man. Like, anyway, so let's start with some slower stuff. Let's start with well, here, let me see. Let me pick a good one to start with because I want you to help me out with this. Maybe you guys can help me figure this out. I'm trying to figure out what exactly would be an effective way to counter this kind of. I can't really think of any because when people are this stupid, to be blunt, there's no cure for that. So, okay, well, I think what I'll do is, well, yeah, let's just cue it up. I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out, because I did save. I got a number of clips here, and they're all relatively short. They're not like super long or anything, but I wanted to get as much of a variety as I could, only to realize there is no variety. They're all doing the same thing. They're all saying the same thing. They all have the same message. It's very, very similar to the media, mind you, where, if there's a word that's important that's used in the lexicon today, then, all right, then tomorrow there'll be a new word that we say boo, and then we say poop, we go crap, and then we start saying shit eventually. Yeah, man. So yeah, are you kind of a fan of protests that mean nothing? Like, yeah, okay, here we go. Let me see which ones I have, because there's a couple things to touch on today. By the way, I'm so backed up, and there's one thing in particular that I've been waiting, but today's not the right day because I need to organize my thoughts on this one. Trust me, this one's been a long time in the making, and it'll be coming soon, but because it's actually relevant now, it hasn't been relevant for a while. Oh, remember that one because it's going to be a dig on the subject of the video. But let me see. Hmm. Oh man. Hmm. 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 It's weird. I'm sorry. It shouldn't change stuff like this. It shouldn't have different licenses for different areas, I guess. But like, I don't know. It's strange. I'll never stop saying it's strange either because it is strange. It's a very weird one indeed. But anyway, I'm sorry. It's funny, man. It's such a freaking bizarre way to go about your political party's messaging because there's no messaging. It's just we have to stop Trump. We have to stop Trump and Elon from doing this and this and almost everything they say is not going on. And they get away with it because people are so either um, either have tied their whole life to this stupid political party. Um, hmm. Hmm. Anyway, sorry about that. Okay, we'll get that. Let's get this clip ready. We'll start with. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So this one, yeah, this one's interesting because. Or wait, should I start with one that's in the middle of a? Hmm. The rose. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Do we have anything there, or is it? Oh, and then I have a insane senator to also show you. Okay, I think this is probably okay. So this is a good. Yeah, we'll start with this. Um, so this is a woman who this host stopped um, just in front of a protest, mind, and she immigrated from Israel, and her husband immigrated from England. It's I think England or Europe. It was in Europe somewhere. It sounded like it was Britain or something somewhere around the sort of you know the English sort of region. But the point is that they are kind of they're discussing some of the holes in the foundation for logic that or lack thereof that you can see this party is desperately suffering from. So this is a good starting point because it gives you an outsider's point of view of you know not an outsider but you know just an observer's point of view who was actually there watching. You know what are these people? What are these people like? What are they doing? And it's a little bit. Hmm, hmm. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, we'll start with that one. That's a good idea, and then we'll move on because it's from the same protest as a couple other scenes that I have, and then I have another one from or another two from another protest, and then I have a couple really good reactions to other people who've been watching all this unfold. But this is just too important and too funny and too emblematic of the situation to not throw in here. So let's do this one first. This one's probably this lady's hardcore when she goes in on there and is like, no, you're not doing that. Okay. I can I don't know what the hell this is. Anyway, let's go ahead and play this clip, and then we'll kind of move. Let's just move through these and kind of take them one by one and see what it is that the Democrat Party's what would you call it? Their voter base, their activist class, their most engaged political constituents. These are the people that you want to see take this company a hit for some take a hit in blah blah years. Like, oh great, here we go. He's gonna find me, and tell me to go do all this dumb stuff just to send an invader. Probably wearing the same clothes as all the people. Never mind. Either way, here's this one, and this is priceless. Is this the right one, or is it? Yeah, this is it. Okay. Here, I'll play it, and then I'll open it up, and we'll go from there. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right, so like I said, this is a couple that were just seemingly just in the area while this was going on. So let's listen to her observations and his observations and what they have to say. Let's check it out. Oh, volume's off here. Now let's hear it.
How stupid can they be? At least 50% of them are using Airbnb. Isn't Airbnb part of Dodge too? He's one of the people. How many of them are going to stay next week in an Airbnb? This is the most stupid group of people I ever seen. What Elon Musk is doing for this country is saving it so people can have Social Security 10 years from now.
I believe you said they're going to have more.
What?
More Social Security. You just announced that.
Absolutely.
Ma'am, where are you from?
I'm originally from Israel, and my husband is from England.
Yeah, I'm from England, yeah.
It was
Immigrated
England, I was
to this
right.
wonderful country 40 years ago, and we are proud American, and Elon is a
Real
proud
quick.
American. He's saving.
You see people that do it the right way, when they go through the process the way you're supposed to, and they become legal residents in the methods that are actually correct under law. You see how appreciative they are of what they've been given. You see how much they actually treasure the gift of citizenship and how much it means to them that they became a citizen. And they don't, complain about the fact that even though you're giving them everything, it's not good enough for them. And they don't, go out and in between, snorting a line and buying a hooker, they just decide to randomly kill a girl jogging, and they don't have those issues. Those are not the issues they suffer from. Instead, they have an issue of not voting Democrat enough. It's pretty much their only sin. But believe me, that's a sin that you have to pay dearly for in Washington. So, I've never been to D.C., but I don't think I need to make that statement. Anyway, let's listen to Looney again. Looney Tune. I don't know if you're supposed to see. Oh no, it's fine. Um, I'll bring it up next time I have to go to what is it, like a castle building? Hmm. Anyway, I'm sorry. I was trying to think. There's another. Nah, I can't remember what it was. If there was another, but I love hearing that because it's like you see how the immigration system that we have in place for vetting people, for checking people, for seeing if they're the right fit for the country. We actually go through all that effort. We make it possible, which, by the way, a lot of countries don't want. And even if they took in hostages, I don't know if there's an exact answer of what to do. It's just, oh man, it's never going to stop to amaze me. It's never going to stop amazing me. So I'll just go get back onto it. But man, it's such a night and day difference. So.
In this country, and these people are stupid. Each one of them, about a year ago, was driving their Tesla, their environmentally correct Tesla,
All of a sudden it's not environmentally correct.
Suddenly it's not environmentally correct to drive a Tesla. How stupid can you be?
Also, I'd like to add to this, the people who call Musk a Nazi have no idea what a Nazi is. A Nazi is somebody who tries to kill Jews.
You know who Nazis are.
Oh,
I'm
here they
Jewish.
come.
I know, but I can't.
I wasn't talking to you. Can I speak?
I know what Nazis are. Half these people are Jewish. I know. My family died in the Holocaust. So don't tell me I don't know what Nazis are.
You know what Nazis are,
This
but you
is
think
exactly
Elon.
what they try to do. They try to
you
shut
think
you down
Elon
while
is
you're making a few points. But let me carry on.
These people
So
are
first
too
of
nice
all,
to be
Musk
caught
is a
up in all this
visionary.
garbage.
America is lucky to have such a
I'm
talented
glad,
guy
I'm
as
glad they
Musk.
speak. I mean, I'm glad they are.
Also, the idea that he's cutting back down on government inefficiency and fraud. Clearly,
She's trying to
there's a
rally
huge
people up to
amount
get them
of,
all worked.
See, this is what they're like. Yeah,
They're shouting a disrupt song.
yeah, they can't handle the fact that somebody's getting some facts out here.
So, sir, I'm going to give you a...
By the way, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to these guys. Musk is. People should be very glad to have Musk here. He's a great guy. And these guys are pretty much crazies. I would say they're very, very crazy.
And you're an immigrant. They're shouting at an immigrant right now.
Yeah, I am an immigrant. I'm proud of
Oh,
America.
but he's white, so
And I'm proud of
it's
Elon
not
Musk. He's
good.
a great
It's
guy.
not good. Still not
And
enough.
the fact that he's doing this for no money at all, Musk is a hero for America. And if you listen to how these people behave and their wild accusations about everybody being a Nazi, you realize just how pathetic they are. That's all I have to say.
They're forming an angry mob around this immigrant right now.
And
I
they
have no
came
idea.
yesterday.
Yeah.
No,
Listen
that's
to
a
me.
fact.
I
That's
know for a
fact.
fact that there's massive waste in the U.S.
So you
government.
think that curing cancer is a waste?
Oh,
That's a
and then-
nonsensical
okay,
thing. You're
one more
just
thing.
trying to throw
No,
it.
that's a fact.
This is such a joke. So they always use the extreme examples that nobody questioned, that everybody says is fine. But sorry, they're on pause for just a little bit so we can deal with the other 99% of the projects in this godforsaken program or building or agency or bureaucracy or whatever you want to call the stupid thing. We're going to have to put it on pause just for a little bit because, we got a little bit of a 5-alarm fire going on in the case of a little something called debt that's, causing us to go broke. And it is one of the most incredible things I've ever seen, and yet, this is this is their only. It's their only shtick. This is their only routine. This is their only answer. This is their only line of attack. This is all that they actually. I guess that's fine, but I mean, I don't know. It's so hard to take anyone seriously, aside from the fact that they're actually very dangerous when they start getting those radical ideas in their head, and some nut with a freaking deadly weapon runs around and starts digging everything from under his pants, and who knows what. Anyway, this clip's almost done, so we'll go back to it. But it just, there couldn't be a more obvious or stark difference
Millions of
between.
people who for the government, I can guarantee you there'll be no delay in the cure for cancer. And by the way, what's this guy been doing for the last 20 years?
That's the point. What I would say in response to this dumb broad is the cancer research. Huh? Well, what about the other few billions of dollars of the budget of this company that had nothing to do with cancer research, that had nothing to do with research of any kind, that had to do with bribing and buying off politicians, judges, and bureaucrats, as well as billionaires and a bunch of Hollywood jackoffs to make sure that we push the Democrat agenda as much as possible. So don't go flouting your ridiculous, stupid cancer treatment bullshit. Like, that's all these agencies exist for. There are brilliant scientists in the United States, and guess what? I would vouch for the idea. Well, I bet significant sums of money that most of them do not work for the federal government. I think that'd probably be my best evidence for the issue with this whole situation is that when you look at the way that government workers were not only there's not only the obvious ones like hey, I'm married and I'm here with my family and I'm going to do something, and then I'm using a weird example, but trust me, it's I'm going somewhere with this. Like, you're going somewhere and you get there, and instead of being that big fighting tournament you were talking about, now is the perfect time to what's the word, man? Why can't I think of? I don't know. And it's anyway. So that's one clip. And so we see how one person feels about the country, and actually two people feel, a couple that feel very specifically different in our preferences, once again, because we know we can talk about it, but that is I'm trying to figure out what is the best way forward. Well, okay. How about this? How about we go into not the next one, but I think this one is also really interesting in its own right, because same protest, different person. They're once again advocating for something, but seemingly not knowing a thing about what it was she was feeling. Um, it's, oh man, all the flavor is gone when you do that. It's just, it's terrible. That's what they're trying to do in the freaking. Anyway, so let's go with this one. This is a lady who, of course, is really concerned about the country of Ukraine, not so much about the United States, but definitely concerned about the Ukraine, especially after Trump's been in office and Ukraine funding is starting to go down. How is this possible? Like, never had a period in time, excuse me, where the argument was, "Hey, I'm really stupid. Give me something for free." That's usually not the pitch, but it might as well be. Now, this lady was one of the more more or less disliked by anyone else. Like, it's just Well, in any case, it's clear that these people already are all over the map on their answers. They don't have a clear description of what it is they're trying to do, by what means, and what do you hope to accomplish. And none of those questions were answered. Okay, all right. Let's see. Is this it? Yeah, it's. Hmm. 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 Yeah, see, this is as I'm thinking about this, and I'm sorry, I was thinking all to myself about what to kind of how to frame it, because this is what happens when you bring someone in also that is willing to have the conversation and to actually have an honest debate, discussion around the subject, as opposed to people who have no discernible jeez. All right. Yeah, this is definitely right. Let's go ahead and do this one. The Ukrainian support is just, well, I mean, Americans can't stand the idea of Israeli military accidentally telling my advance for your friend Scott Fish or yeah, okay. Here, let me play this one, and then this is another good one to keep going with. So, is it this one? Yes. Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get this one started. I'm sorry. I'm trying to. I got about 5 clips here. I'm trying to look at and decide which one to go to. So let's go ahead and we'll start with this one.
What do you do for work? Are you retired?
I'm retired now. Yeah, I think most of the
Of
people
course she
here
is.
are retired, and I'd like to see a lot more young people out.
What do you think about Elon Musk giving Starlink to Ukraine
Giving
might be
Starlink
something
to
for me.
Ukraine.
so they can have access to internet?
Well, I don't think he would ever do that.
No, he did.
Oh, he did? When did he do that?
A couple years back, once the war broke out.
Are they still able to use it?
Yes.
Oh, well, I think that's a good thing.
You notice how she's completely dumbfounded at this? She had no idea. She's never looked into it. No one's ever even told anybody in her circles, anything about something like this. Because if they are doing something good, it must be buried. It must not be talked about. It must not be discussed or acknowledged, because a good deed done by someone they disagree with might as well be a bad deed, because it's terrible that they would be held. And going back to the Junk for Justice, ridiculous, was that the name of the fucking group? I don't know, but yeah, back to the First Lady's ridiculous idea of, what was she rambling on about? I can't remember. Man. Okay. All right. Anyway, sorry. I'm trying to find something on top of it. Anyway, so she cares about Ukraine, of course, and of course she cares about Ukraine. And as far as it'll get the urine in the lakes +3, I guess. And if you can either go to the weight room or so anyway, but just the idea of Elon doing anything nice for someone else that she believes is a victim, that's unheard of. He would never do something like that. It was like the whole thing with Trump when he mentioned, what did he mention? It was something about was it about thrillers, or it was something about like either TV or man, I can't. Damn it! I wish I could have remembered it. It was a funny ass situation, but anyway, this one's not super long. I think they pointed out. Oh, it's a little bit longer than I thought, but still. Have you noticed in the last few videos, like the no, yeah. Well, yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. Of course, she's the one who was holding the Ukraine flag sign. But let's finish this one up now.
I'm surprised it hasn't been taken back.
Look at that. We're finding good common ground for everyone today. So would you be willing to thank Elon Musk today?
That's an iffy. No, I don't think so.
Despite him giving internet access to Ukraine?
No. He needs to get out of our government. We didn't elect him. He needs to go. And
what do you think?
So let that sink in for just a second. No, he needs to get out of our government. No one elected him. He needs to go. It's very strange you would mention only Miradon and nobody else during your defensive shadow of the word tree. It's just like, can anybody out there really grasp at this? Like she's genuinely confused, but she has to default back to her original position. And the thing is that I've owned a lot of, this is kind of a side note, but I've owned a lot of third-party controllers that work with ease. But I mean, it seems like from what I could gather in the Hori downloads, as well as I knew the cars were at least, but either way, yeah, this concept of idea that like, well, no, Musk would never do that. Oh, he already did that. Oh, well, it's not really a great thing anyway. It's like as soon as you establish a narrative, which is what I love about the guy who, this guy actually made the, Larry Elder actually made the compilation. It was on his show, but the actual translation and it's just, anyway, we'll finish this. This one's not super long. So.
Dr. Fauci.
I love Dr. Fauci.
Do you think we elected him?
He was appointed by our president, so I think
I
think all he did was speed up the vaccination. I'm a registered nurse, so I really believe.
You notice all the caveats they have with stuff like that too. Like, if you're into boating or skiing, is happen to find and it's just, I don't know, are making appeals to, but it's not working today. So yeah, it's just, once again, there's a fail 2 out of 3. And they're not looking so good right now. So let's see what they. Now, bear in mind, in this area, this was supposed to have this like from I'll ask Trump. Whatever the things you throw behind you are, they can outrun you or deal damage, or explosive. But this is what yeah, I'm just not gonna buy it. It's just, it's not even. But yeah. Anyway, and of course she loves Dr. Fauci. Why? Well, because he did so much. The president exonerated him and declared his sentence commuted. So he's totally fine. He's cool. There's nothing wrong there. Despite the fact that it's almost been this tracking of consension and we can Okay, well, you got the idea on this one. How about we go on to our next case study, and this one will be a little bit more. Let me see. I think I kind of was building myself up or building the clips up for one nice big one that would be would be media for Democrat voters. Like, it seems to me like Congress, their constituents, and it's man, I just keep hitting this block with this shit. So anyway, let's move on to this one because is it this one? Well, hold on, what is this one? Here, give me just a second. Let me make sure I know which one this is, because if this is the wrong one, then I'll have to try and figure out what the right one is. I think it's this one. And there we goes. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Okay, I think. That's fine. Who are we going to be? So, I'm sorry. I should have thought of this before. I'm sorry, guys. I should have planned out where to place what. But I was trying to get the clips of the protest first, because the analysis is really the what we're really going to focus on, because that's probably the most important part. That's where we're really going to. But these are just funny as hell, and I think. Yeah, this is it. Oh, here we go. Yeah. This is good and fun. So we'll check out this one. Yet another one from the same protest. But this one is this one thinks they really have, or he really has a man. Too many shots to the head, brutal headshot. But yeah, it's Okay. Yeah. So let's go ahead and go with this one. Yeah, this is definitely the best one to go to. Next. So this is the last clip from that protest, and just once again, I'm gonna just check this really quick and see and make sure I know what it is I'm actually putting up, because I'm kind of confused. I didn't think I made one for this, but I guess I did. Oh, that's right. Oh, whoops, damn it. There, what was that? Oh, that was my, never mind. That's fine. Okay, so, my mouse went to, okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, this one is right here. Let me see. Oh, yes. Okay, all right. Now, you want to talk about tying somebody up in a, oh, what happened to YouTube? Hold on, Rumble viewers, hold on just a second. Looks like YouTube got a little bit of a hiccup. I don't know if it's still going on or not, but let me make sure it's fine. maybe not receiving enough video. Looks like it's fine to me. It's in the green. And it should be. It's just. Okay, well, almost, okay. Yeah. Okay, so here's this one. This one seriously had me. I think this is okay now. Let me just double check one last time. Here's what I'll do. I'll go to. I'm sorry about this, man. Weird issue, but and I'm sorry. I've noticed this like sort of rush when I'm starting, and I haven't done a show in a while, and then as soon as I kind of get going, the sort of adrenaline high and the rush for starting the show kind of wears off, and I start to my mind starts to work a little bit slower, but the cogs are turning today. It's all fine. I think as long as I'm not passing out, and I did sleep for quite a while last evening / afternoon, but without a doubt there is. Geez, whoops. So anyway, to go back to what I was kind of hopefully can highlight with this, you're going to add something. What's it going to be? And they give you the box to tell you only your heart can tell you what you really want. And it's so stupid. There's so many movies that are similar to this premise, but they don't have the same kind of incredibly self-righteous of belief in themselves or anything that happens in them. Like, what is wrong with someone? Anyway, I'm sorry. But this girl, oh boy, this is how they just don't have any perspective on what it is they're actually expecting from people, because selling your house is just not, like, let's just continue and let them explain their ridiculous position. This is like I said, this is gold, because this one's just too much of a circular reasoning kind of example, and it's one of the most obvious ones I've ever seen. So yeah, we'll get into. Let me just find the game. Oh, I started on. I did. I wonder how to take that. I have World War III open, I think. Okay. Let's go ahead and do this one now. Let's see. It's still giving me this weird message though about YouTube. I don't understand it, but hopefully, if there's a problem, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna just keep going as if it says I have an excellent connection. Oh, now it disappears. Okay. This whole thing doesn't make any sense, but okay, sure, have it your way. It like totally matters now. Anyway, Okay, well, yeah, let's go ahead and get to this lady. I'm sorry, I procrastinated too long, so let's go ahead and get to this. This is, without a doubt, the spitting image of leftists who are the hood of the, what is it, 3,000 wives or something? I don't remember. But, like, yeah, his delivered are, well, you might want to do that anymore. But... okay, yeah, so here we go. Okay. Because the thing about the classes like this is that when you have class systems like this, and certain kind of classes are constantly filling up, like the Andrew and geology and demographics under this setup, and it just is so it's so pivotal that it really doesn't make any lick of sense, because as I believe Ted Cruz points out not too long after, it's and any kind of modern day sort of researcher kind of knows, even though a lot of them won't say it out loud, that right now men that are, at least the ones that are demonized by women like this couple, I guess. So anyway, here's Jay. We definitely gotta do that. Here we go. So okay, all right, yeah. This is what I was thinking it was. Yeah, I think everything's fine there. So let's get this. I'm sorry, this isn't going as efficiently as I hoped it would, but I think it's. Oops, sorry about that. Okay. Jesus, the heat gets me all right. Okay. I think I have it loaded. I'm spending too much time talking about this damn clip, and I'm not going to spend enough time actually going over it. Let me just. Yeah. This is it. Okay. All right. So now you're about to go on a journey of paradox that's never ending with someone who has very little brain power. So let's watch that unfold and make fun of it on the other end, because it's, well, it is pretty funny to be honest. But if it's not, then you're going to say proof. Very, very interesting. Okay, let's go back to this, and we'll go ahead and play this one now. I'm sorry for the delay. So this is just marvel at how absolutely ridiculous this plan is. And once again, it's because they have no plan. That's the problem. But they have to have some kind of plan, so they just make shit up. And this is one of the things they make up right here. So let's enjoy it, because this is fun. Oh no, it's not that one. Okay, here we go. I think it's open to everybody. Is it? Oh no, not yet. If we could switch chains. Okay. Here, let's do this really quick. It's loaded. Yeah. All right. Am I on the right? Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Let's go ahead and go. Oh, why am I showing the? I'm showing this. Oh well. All right. Let's go ahead. Oh. I was gonna be so weird, Jack, because that might be too much. Okay. All right. Here we go. What I might do is, yeah, I think I have an idea for this anyway, but let's start this clip. I wasted too much time already. That's the right one. Okay. Oh, no, wait, that's the wrong one. Oh, wait, did I even open it? Oh, maybe I didn't. Okay, here, we'll go to the... What is this? Okay. Now, here we go. This is the solution, once again. Yeah, if this was the kind of adoption of policy that was taken by anyone who's elected, okay. Here we go. Oh, I gotta open it. Okay. Jeez, I keep missing them. Yep, here we go. Or wait, is this? No, it's this one. Okay, got it. Oh, there's no sound in it. Yeah, just a second. We'll turn the volume back on, and now we can play it.
Do you disavow the attacks we've seen on Teslas around the country?
I don't think it's wrong to burn cars and to do that. I do think it's all right, and it's our First Amendment right to protest and let people know that we are against what Elon Musk and Doge is doing. That is our First Amendment right.
So the people here are shouting to sell their Tesla. Who do they sell their Tesla?
Here's where the trouble begins. But you notice how quickly she moves on to legality of things. She knows, like, she knows that she could be questioned, and she probably gangster pretty extensively where they are going to fake how dance the last girl's butt, but they were all pelting up to here and there for whose voice is most important to the people in the community, and da, da, da. And meanwhile, there's like, well, you want people to sell all their Teslas? Like, yeah, that's how we don't support Elon Musk. So who you wanted to sell their Teslas to? And here's where she starts to have some trouble. There's a little bit of a glitch in the matrix where she doesn't really understand what she was asked, and I don't either. But it's always funny when I see this kind of thing too. Okay. All right. Well, let's go back to this, and then we'll keep.
Tesla too, and once the Tesla's sold, what do they do with it?
Well, I mean, you could try to sell your Tesla, but the used car market for Teslas is going down. So if you sell it, I would sell
She's
it
all
now before it
talking
gets
points.
worse, because it is.
But the person who buys it, what do they do with it?
I mean, when you buy a Tesla, basically what you're saying is, I would never buy a Tesla from them because you're supporting Elon Musk and what he's doing. You need to stand up for yourself and tell them that we're not going to support you, but you don't support us as regular taxpayers who are paying for Social Security, who want Medicare.
No, but the people are shouting, sell your Tesla. So the person who buys it, what do they do with it?
I wouldn't buy a Tesla.
Okay, but the people who are shouting, sell your Tesla, who are they shouting? Who is it to be sold to?
I would just sell it. Get rid of it. There's a lot.
To who?
Just get rid of it. Just dump it.
But then the person who buys it, they can keep it.
I don't care what they do. I would never personally own a Tesla.
What if they're shouting, sell your Tesla to someone who's just bought a Tesla off the third-party market like you guys are suggesting?
I mean, I just wouldn't drive one around because I think it symbolizes something that I wouldn't want to represent.
I know, but I'm asking about the chant.
About the what?
The chant, when they're saying, sell your Tesla.
Because I think what we're saying is, if you drive that car around, whether you bought it from a third party, whether you bought it from there, you are saying that you support that industry, that person in particular. There's a lot of EV cars out there. Toyota has one. There's Rivian. There's.
I know, but the people are shouting to sell it.
Yes.
And that's it. That's it. Sell it, and to who? I don't know. And what are they going to do? I don't know. But just do it because we said so. I have no idea where. Well, actually, I do. These people are either obviously retirees who watch nothing but CNN or MSNBC all day and got scared to death about apparently losing their retirement and their Social Security by Donald Trump and his evil Doge team, or they're high school kids that have no idea what they're talking about and are all about me in every answer they have. So any idea about morality in terms of here you buy this piece of gear from me, like a really handy. You better do it than I do. Yeah, I think we will. But I think that was all the main. I'm sorry. This is really this cinnamon rolls I've been getting are really good. I'm sorry. Sometimes I gotta be a pig a little bit, but now that we've seen pretty much the bottom of the barrel when it comes to protesters, let's take a look at some of the bottom of the barrel when it comes to elected representatives. And we can have a little bit of fun with that too, because this is Senator Coons, who went on, I can't remember what show it was. This is Martha McCallum on Fox. Not particularly a hardball sort of show that she runs, and a very, her and Brett Baer are probably two of the people at Fox that are, I think I've talked about this before, when you want something that's pretty down the line, pretty even, like they don't really have much of a agenda either way. They're pretty fair, right down the middle in terms of the normal sort of political ideology. Might be not quite down the middle in the modern sort of extreme ideologies in one main direction, and maybe a handful of cases in the other, but not many. But that's not what they want you to believe, so you got to tell about more. So basically the message is, if you're paying attention to anything like this happening, make sure that you pay attention to only the white people that are involved and no one else. But what his problem is, well, he's got several, but the main issue that he's having trouble with in this interview is exactly why everyone's been sort of heaped and thrown on top of my my successes. Yes, I was going to succeed. I was going to get this thing. But at what cost? And it's like, actually, we are just purple and what was the other? There was something else. It was a nationality. No, not Japanese. Anyway, I just think this interview is, once again, when you talk about the modern Democrat Party and what's happened to them after Donald Trump got elected the second time, there's this endless amount of nothing. It's nothing but anti-Trump, anti-Musk anger. That's it. It's all they have. So once again, here's someone who's supposed to be, in D.C. to represent the interests of his district, and instead he's in D.C. to try and make himself more wealthy and at least say out loud that Trump is a threat to democracy, and that we need to stop him and make sure we do that by and protect our institutions and our agencies that do so much with these hardworking Americans. The bullshit narrative that they can't really come up with any real reason that it is true, or any actual case that they know of where this is actually something that happens. I mean, personally, I don't even know if I believe it until I see one. But let's see all these government agencies that have all these people that, like for the teachers' unions, for example, let's just cut the bullshit and tell it like it is. Why do you think the schools were closed for as long as they were during COVID? And why do you think we're the only country that really allowed the schools to stay out of the children's day for so long? Because they didn't have a First Amendment. So anyway, I'm sorry. Here, let's go ahead and go to the video with Senator Coons. I'm sorry. I think this should be fine. Let's go ahead and go here.
So let's begin by bringing in Delaware Democratic Senator Chris Coons. Senator, thank you very much for being here. So it's really very interesting to hear what they're finding when they look at Social Security. And we know that Social Security is going to become insolvent in just 10 years by 2035.
Remember this point, because this one is really important, and it's one that you'll never hear the left talk about. You won't hear them openly bring that up in any conversation. And that has nothing to do with Trump or Musk or Trump's first term or his second term or anything involving MAGA or anything like that. That has to do with decisions that came out of Washington, D.C. for the last 50 some odd years that essentially led to a very long knock-on effect where he can't really do anything else any other way, but I guess I'll have to just kind of give it a shot. But anyway, back to what Martha is asking about. I just had to point out the point about what no one's saying. They want to go back to the way things were before Elon and Trump were digging through the. Who was it that said the? Somebody really was adamant about. Think of the tariffs as or the think of the tariffs as a or not. Wait, not the tariffs. Think of the. That's right. The this is what I thought the stock market. Think of the Doge team and what they're doing with the agencies as an investment into all the United States governmental agencies that exist out there. And then, when you think about it from that lens, then think about what they do and what they historically have been able to accomplish and what they're able to accomplish now, because it's actually, a little bit more people actually discussing the actual disgusting act of thorny, insane side of himself. Thorny is not exactly the best shape. So anyway, oh jeez Louise, man, the dogs keep going crazy every time. Although once again, that may be for me. I have something interesting maybe coming. Anyway, let's go back to this though.
Here's another one. Let's just play this, and then I want to get your reaction to both of these. This is also another member of the Doge team from Bret Baier's special report discussion with them about.
Real quick, I am going to play a couple highlights from that because it's really it really highlights so much of the important stuff. I'm not going to play the whole thing because I have the whole interview. But actually, I might save that for another time because I have so much on this one I need to get through. I've been going through this too slow. But yeah, that's it's a really interesting interview, and we'll definitely go over it at some point because it debunks so much of the myth behind what Doge is, who is there, what they're doing, et cetera, et cetera. When they talked about the B&B thing in the last time, if you were confused at all, that's because this army of what we're led to believe are all 20 or 22 or 23-year-old college kids that have this trolling mentality, and they're not really serious, good faith tech professionals that could get into the OS pretty easily and like check for any kind of issue that might be going on. It's incredible the way they were able to just dismiss them just completely out of hand and make it seem like this whole thing is completely fruitless. It's not even worth the time. And yet, once again, no proof, no evidence, no anything. It's just a statement of fact with a lot of anger and a lot of bitter resentment behind it. So here we go. Let's go back onto this.
What they were finding, let's listen to this Doge engineer on Social
And here's
Security.
a little preview of that.
When you want to change your bank account, you can call Social Security. We learned 40% of the phone calls that they get are from fraudsters.
There are over 15 million people that are over the age of 120 that are marked as alive in the Social Security system.
And what we're trying to do is ensure that people do receive their benefits in the future. And you can only receive your benefits if the country is operating in a healthy and competent way.
Were you as shocked as I was when you heard some of those numbers?
We're about to get a big dose of bullshit, but real quick, one reason that I love that whole thing right there is that, first of all, the people were speaking eloquently and pretty much no nonsense, straight to the details. Democrats have no ability to speak right down the middle and pretty bipartisan because their whole lifestyle and their whole grade on the things they have to do with working a crappy job and getting whatever else you can from anywhere you can, because and once this is not an ambitious group of people that are going to attempt to game the Social Security system. And just as a side note, when the guy says the amount of people that are over 120 or over that are getting benefits, what wasn't on this clip and wasn't on any clip that I could find unless I got the full episode from a bootlegger or something. But but basically, this is the kind of actual question mark. They're just like question marks that you would normally have if you were trying to figure out, okay, what should we do from here? The problem is that, as we're about to see, they're not even going to answer that question. They're going to answer questions that nobody asked because their agenda has nothing to do with really helping anything except for their party. And I can't believe that that it's a fair descriptive state of mind to act like the idea that there's nothing there that we need to see is it's so ridiculous. But anyway, okay, let me we'll get back to this right now. This whole interview kind of just pissed me off, but is a perfect example of once again, the left has, this is their only card. This is the only thing they have to play. The only thing they will play is just this one card over and over again. So it's sad, but it's infuriating at the same time.
That information about how much fraud is happening in Social Security, Senator?
So, Martha, not only do I not believe some of what was just shared there, but the Trump administration's acting administrator of Social Security has said that less than 0.1% of the payments put out by the Social Security Administration are fraudulent or in error. Let's be clear about some of the things that were just played. There are people whose names are on the rolls as having been born 150 or 200 years ago. They're not receiving Social Security payments. So the statement
I don't think that's
that
true in every
there's
case
all
at
these
all.
people.
You notice how much he is just like in complete assured like absolution with the way that he states these things. Well, this staffer with Trump that does Social Security told me that's not even true. And oh, okay. So everyone at Doge is wrong. Trump is wrong. Elon's wrong. Everyone in the administration that goes on television to talk about it is wrong. But this one staffer you talk to in the administration, he's right. And also, like, no one over 120 is getting benefits because there's such important good systems in place. So were those the same systems that created the database that shows these 120-year-old people, 150-year-old people? Because if it's the same people, I'm sorry, but I don't trust them one bit. And you can ask that staffer who the fuck they are, because like I haven't heard anybody rushing forward to verify that statement. I'm sure I'm not sure. I wouldn't put past a guy like Senator Fools here to essentially get an actor to play the role of this fake Elon Musk during a fake Doge meeting to say that, man, I really need a few dollars to put in the truck or whatever, which that's fine. That's not what I object to, but it's completely based on like nothing. There's nothing. If this was the word of a Republican from a Democrat administration that was telling them like yeah, everything that is on like the alternative media side of things, like people like Joe Rogan and all them, they're very anti-democracy now. It's so absurd, but there's only that extreme because they can't come to admit that I don't know, maybe I was wrong about this one. No. There's no way. I can't be wrong. I'm Senator Coons. I know everything that is going on and I'm always right about it. Narcissistic piece of shit. Like, good Lord. Anyway, go ahead and keep rambling about your dumb... And Martha will try to interject in certain instances here, but you can see he's already ready with the freaking scalpel and start just making cuts to the human body. But we can, laugh out as much as we want to on crazy trips like this. However, well, let's just go ahead. We'll go back to the clip. But you'll notice this time and time again. Every answer is in reference to an unnamed source in the Trump administration. And that's where we're supposed to, put our faith, I guess. It's just no other way except that. Anyway. Where was yeah. Okay. All right, so anyway, let's go back. If I can find the button. There it is.
Martha,
yeah.
I'm just repeating back to you what the Trump administration acting
and
Social
now-
Security administrator has said about the percentage of
And that's the Trump administration, acting Social Security, whatever. Yeah, that's because he fits the narrative that you need. This guy is such a pathetic weasel, as is just about everybody else in this party. But this is just, I mean, it's
fraud
amateur
in
hour.
Social Security.
So let me ask you
Part
this.
of why I'm alarmed about Elon Musk and Doge, and they're getting into
Here
the
we go.
systems, and they're getting the access to the individual information of millions of Americans, is that Elon Musk has made it clear he thinks Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme is itself fraudulent, fake, criminal, or illegal. I don't think Social Security is a Ponzi scheme.
Well, let me ask
I
you
think
something.
70 million Americans depend on it for their
Right,
principal
but
source
gee,
of
that's
income.
too bad, because
so
in 10
letting
years...
Doge
No, let me
into
ask you a
Social
question,
Security
Senator. Let me ask you a
to tear
question.
it up,
You've made a lot
like
of
they
points.
have
Let me ask you
destroyed
something.
other agencies,
Sir.
I think is immoral.
So you sound like you're pretty okay with all the agencies and how they function. So
That's amazing that he can say that. I think it's immoral to allow Doge in to. Okay, how many times does the administration have to fucking say that they don't have write capability? They only have the read capabilities. They can only read what is there, and they can read and take notes. They can't alter or change anything on their own. They are bringing their findings to the president and to Congress, and they are bringing the facts there to have decisions made. The idea that they have access to change anything is ridiculous, and it's even more ridiculous to try and come up with the other pathetic theory that, and this one's the worst, that apparently what's his name? Kyle what? Gimps? Who the fuck is Kyle Gimps? But I don't see anyone that ever goes on to these shows that are like hosted by some leftist lunatic that doesn't have any kind of interest of the country in mind. I don't see him waking up in a particularly good mood in this situation, but anyway, I have to let him continue because it'll never be over unless I keep. Here, come on. Oh, I lost the mouse. There we go.
you say all those millions of people depend on Social Security, so you don't care about the ones that are going to never get it because it's going to be insolvent in 10 years. What have Democrats done? What did Joe Biden's administration do to find the waste, fraud, and abuse in Social Security to try to shore up this important agency? What did they do? Can you tell me?
Sure. So first, Martha, you are presuming widespread waste, fraud, and abuse in Social Security.
And you are presuming no widespread. You're presuming an incredibly very small amount of waste, fraud, and abuse, and just dismissing everything that a bunch of incredibly intelligent tech nerds, which is what they are. It's not even an insult. That's what they are. They're incredibly successful, intelligent, techie nerds who have gone in like autistic ninjas, to be honest, and gone and dug deep into the systems to find out all this information, and they come back with it. And it's like, well, as one staffer told me that it's just like, once again, the tactic is so pathetic, and people still they still believe that that's true, because Chris Coons, the Democrat from Delaware, talked to a Trump staffer, and Trump staffer said that there's no waste, fraud, and abuse. It's running rampant in Social Security. That's just hyperbole, and that's just not true. As a matter of fact, they're getting more Social Security than ever. As a matter of fact, they're all about to become billionaires, and they're about to eclipse Elon Musk too. It's incredible. yeah, more tales from La La Land. I don't have the words. Just keep it up. This is, and then when everybody, has no savings left anymore because your stupid party ate it all, then whose fault is it? Is it? I seem to remember some pretty interesting individuals. But anyway, it's to me, it's maybe it's just because I've seen like high fantasy or dark fantasy sorts of, and it's not about the jeez. Well, okay, all right. Let's well, I'm sorry. Let's go back and we'll keep going. But man, I could go on and on about this asshole so easily, as well as all the other jack-offs in this party that just look the other way as the kind of shit happens, and then make excuses for it when it gets found out.
Haven't offered any credible evidence to support that. I don't believe what Doge says about virtually any federal agency. But I will believe what the GAO says, or the Inspector General, or the Administrator of Social Security, because I've had senior...
Because they're conservative and he hates them. That's why. It has nothing to do with any kind of credibility or any kind of honest, realistic belief that anyone is more or less honest that he talked to from somebody else's group. It has to do with the fact that his constituents and radical Democrats have to constantly and totally disapprove of Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and everything that they say and everything that they do has to be entirely, like, their agenda has to entirely revolve around every action being a response to those two, and in a negative light in every sense. It can't ever be a friendly guy. Steam the trash cans. I don't know why I'm talking about steam for some reason, but like, it's a good business to model after, maybe. I don't know. But this is once again like, oh, okay, I trust this guy because I talked to him and he told me this was happening. Okay, well, Elon and his team told you this is what's happening on this side. This is what these guys have heard. Nah, it's not. I trust my guys more than... Say, first of all, who said they were your guys? Aren't they supposed to be, some sort of, like, foreign interest sort of group of some kind? Or no? I don't know. It's just... It's grasping at anything possible. And once again, there's no platform. He won't ever address the core issue, which is, what are we going to do about this? What are we going to... What are we going to act like this is some kind of really deeper, harder, in-depth... Now, don't get me wrong, the tabletop game, I'm sure, is... I've never played it, but I know some people who have, and it seemed like a pretty decently fun experience. But that's not what the point is. The point is that that it's in opposition to the Democrats' enemy, and the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and in every scenario for Democrats. So they're going to use, and that's the problem. That's another issue too, is that they don't see. They don't see someone they can talk to and ask questions and have a reliable source. They come in, talk, and ask questions, and they just kind of look at me and then turn away. It's like what the senators are doing to their constituents. It's ridiculous. Anyway, okay, go ahead, jackass. Let's hear the rest.
Folks from Doge lie to my face about other federal agencies where they claim they have found widespread waste, fraud, and abuse where previous audits did not find that waste, fraud, and abuse.
Gee, I
and
wonder
this
why.
administration, Martha, fired the Inspector General of USAID when he filed complaints about the waste of huge amounts of food aid left rotting on docks.
God. Let me
ask you
Rather
something.
than dealing with that fraud, they
You know what, jackass? Okay, I'm getting pissed off here. This is the same song and dance that freaking was that Sam Cedar, that piece of shit that was trying to do this? Yeah, it was Sam Cedar that was trying to pull this bullshit. Just because you had some hot meals lined up for some tribe in South America or Africa or wherever the fuck it was, doesn't mean that suddenly, oh man, USAID really it was really a mistake to defund them. What a terrible thing to do, leaving all this food out that was lying in the docks, just going spoiled because, yeah, it's terrible, man. You know how dare, like, you know, it would be even worse if we were doing that on a daily basis with all these homeless people that really didn't give a shit and just, you know, weren't interested and would rather go, oh yeah, that is happening. That's right. Because the insistence on trying to give out all this free stuff to a bunch of people that they only want one thing, and it's usually booze or drugs, and you know, you might get mad about that and have a little temper tantrum again, Mr. Coons. But the problem is that your little bullshit attempt to tug at people's heartstrings with these stupid stories. I've heard the song and dance before, and it doesn't hold a candle. I don't know how much those meals cost, but I guarantee you they didn't cost anywhere near the amount of money that your little precious agency over there was ripping off from the American taxpayers to go to bullshit like transgender surgeries in South America and LGBTQ Sesame Street in fucking Iraq. So go to hell, you fucking liar. Jeez, I'm sorry. This is where it really riles me up, because he's got nothing to say about any of that stuff. He's not going to tell you one thing about all the bullshit programs his stupid party supports. But oh man, those poor people that needed their meals that just went bad on the docks while they were waiting for the boats to pick them up. How do we even pay for the boats, by the way? You guys can't fucking buy any new ships for the Navy. You can't buy any new ships for even the freaking National Guard, for fuck's sake. Like, you can't upgrade any kind of naval fleet or any kind of seafaring enforcement arm of any law enforcement whatsoever. But you got those meals ready that need to go to the starving people. So it's just ridiculous propaganda that's meant to make it seem like this was some cruel, heartless act that was taking place. No. If it really was such an important endeavor, why don't you, out of your pocket, just, you know, take up a charity and contribute a good chunk of money to it, and then you guys could replace the meals and have them sent on your own dime, instead of stealing it from the taxpayer who doesn't know at all that this is where it's going, and then tell them that, well, we don't have enough money for Social Security because, you know, oh man, we needed to increase taxes on the rich who, you know, they're ripping. Go fuck yourself. God damn. He is so full of shit.
Fired him.
I'm amazed by,
I
so
am
you're,
too.
you're saying that I'm assuming that there's waste, fraud, and abuse. And I think it's equally surprising that you are assuming that the government is functioning in an efficient way when we all know.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Well, then what has...
That was the implication. Don't even play word games, you freaking goddamn liar. God, these people are frauds. It's like you're doing everything you can to defend your precious organization. And then when she calls you out on it, it's like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Yeah, you implied it. You implied it with every fucking word that came out of your mouth, you snake. God. So keep going. Keep lying. Go ahead.
Martha, there are inspector generals in every single
like,
agency that are there to find waste, fraud, and abuse.
They've done a fantastic bang-up job.
I was just about to say, they've been doing fantastic.
To start the administration by firing all of them does not suggest a deep interest in listening to these career nonpartisan
I don't know why you don't want to
inspectors
hear it.
general about waste.
No, you can't just like put your fingers in your ear and go, you know, blah blah blah. Like it's not happening. We all
he
know
can.
That's not at all
that
what
the
I'm doing,
government
Martha.
is not
Let me repeat
well
the point.
run, and
that
these
if
people.
Elon Musk says that Social Security is a Ponzi scheme, and this president has
You notice how
fired
that's
the
he's got that one quote. He's got that one quote. Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. You think that maybe has something to do with the fact that your dead mannequin of a president for the last 4 years had no knowledge of just about anything that was going on around him, and was just told, "Here, sign this." He had no idea what the fuck he was doing, and all these inspector generals you say are so, beyond reproach. They're so on the ball. They know what's going on. They're the ones that allowed us to get $37 trillion in debt. You fucking liar! God damn! I swear. And then he wants to spin it around and turn it on other people. Everything is everybody else's fault except for ours. We've been nothing but benevolent and honest. Yeah, you sure have. That's why, they were breaking the law in freaking Texas to continue doing their butchery of children under the age of 18 when the government decided in Texas that, we're not going to let people who are adults and should know better persuade kids into believing that they're in the wrong body and that they're actually a different gender. And we're not going to allow that to go so far with kids, especially under the age of 18, who are confused about that, to get surgeries done that are life-altering and are, in all likelihood, going to be something that leads to massive, massive lifetime damage to them mentally, if not complete breakdown to the point of suicide. Which I'm sure that's because of bullying, though, right? That's because they're just being bullied so much. Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is. When anybody that says one negative word about someone who's trans or gay or black, or if somebody makes a good-spirited joke that's not even hurtful, and you're already sending the fucking FBI after them to arrest them, and yet, like, it's this one quote that you just, like, man, it's a Ponzi scheme. It has to do with the fact that you pieces of shit were, once again, funding transgender surgery at every freaking location you could possibly do it in, funding ridiculous DEI practices where it's fine to be racist now as long as you're only racist towards white people. Then it's totally cool, right? Then it's no problem. Yeah, that's fine. Like, everything that you support is total bullshit, and then you're going to sit there and accuse everybody else of lying. It's... And that's why, like, the theme of that I was trying to stick to for this episode, which I kind of bounced around a little too much, but the point was that people like this scumbag who is sitting here and telling you not to believe, what all these other people are saying. Believe what I say, because I talked to this guy in the administration. I talked to these people who are nonpartisan, and they told me that, no, this isn't happening. Okay, all right, what are their names? Have they put their reputation on the line? Do they do it for free? Have they been sitting around in Washington after they have been threatened with every type of bodily harm anybody can think of, because they're trying to, help the country out a little bit from the fact that we are in ridiculously high debt because you fuckers won't let any kind of bill pass that's not higher than the last bill, and like but they're not at all reputable. No, they're not reputable. The people that are reputable are the people that we've been relying on that got us into this mess in the first place. Yeah, that's real sound logic. Some nameless, faceless person that we have no idea who it is. You just name, this is who I talk to. This guy with this title, he's definitely not going to tell me something wrong. Like, I don't know. I would consider that selective hearing. And, you could say the same about me. The difference is I've heard it all. I've heard everything at this point. I've heard both sides. And guess what? I'm sorry, but your credibility is a little bit lacking. It's a little bit lacking, especially when you won't address any of the points that are relevant that have been brought up. You just keep referencing these same stupid talking points that your party comes up with. And this ridiculous obsession with taking Medicare away from everyone, taking Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security away from and pushing grandma and grandpa off a cliff and all this other shit. It's like, we've heard it all before, jackass, and it didn't happen. You know, probably the best bit of evidence we have. Are you ready for it? Trump was president before. Did any of that happen? No, it didn't. You know what happened? Prices went way down. Prices went way down. Employment went way straight up. And you fuckers panicked until COVID hit. And then you're like, it's our chance. Let's do it. And you won. Oh, you succeeded. You succeeded like hell, didn't you? And you drove us into debt like crazy. You destroyed the fucking country. You let loose a bunch of fucking criminals. And the Trump administration comes back, has to clean up the mess, and you're right back at it, telling us how wrong it was to elect Trump again and how terrible a job he's going to do, as he's, once again, I'm noticing, what's this? Oh, my goodness. Those eggs that everyone was obsessing about for the first couple weeks, they're starting to go down. But now you're not talking about that anymore. Oh, no. Now let's not talk about eggs anymore. Let's talk about something else. It's so fucking pathetic. It's just ridiculous. So go ahead. Keep going, and make a fool of
Inspectors
yourself.
General, who are the people most capable, not a bunch of 20-year-old
Why
software
are they the most
engineers
capable?
with no
He's still
previous
repeating
government
that
experience.
shit.
Did you watch
Because
this
they are
interview, Senator?
trained,
No, of
Did
course
you watch the
independent,
interview? Did you watch
competent
this?
accountants.
Did you
Listen
watch
to
the
him.
interview?
Which interview? I don't know what you're talking
The
about.
one I just
You're
played you
yelling
from.
so much.
Only
No, I
one.
can't, because I can't get a word in edgewise. I'm trying to ask you a question. That's my job. So
You go right ahead.
There was an excellent panel
What
on
a
special report.
condescending
These are not
piece of shit.
25-year-old, whatever people have been calling them. They're very seasoned executives who have made a lot of money and run good businesses efficiently, where
Yeah,
they
in fact, one
only
of
use
them
the
was
number
B-
of people to get the
Airbnb.
job done that they
There was
needed.
that
They
lady was
gave
talking
up
about
their
the video.
livelihood and they
Elon
left
Musk
their
has run
families and they
Twitter
came to Washington
efficiently
to try
rather than
to
running it into the
give their
ground
expertise.
is to
He
make-
uses Twitter. He can't talk about SpaceX. He can't talk about Tesla. So to suggest Elon Musk has run Twitter, so she didn't say that. How about this, Mr. Coons? She didn't say that. She didn't say that. She didn't say that. She didn't say that with your annoying nasally fucking voice. She didn't say that. She said these people at Doge are all very successful businessmen. To suggest Elon Musk runs Twitter really well. Who the fuck said anything about Twitter? Who the fuck said anything about Elon? Who the fuck is even talking about anything? How is that your point? He wasn't expecting. You think Elon bought Twitter because he was really hoping to turn a profit and make that company successful? He never stated that from the beginning. He stated it was insane to have a social media platform that doesn't let people socialize with media, to allow free speech to take place on an American company's online platform without the government coming in and saying, yeah, no, this guy, what he's talking about, that's really problematic for us. We need you to get rid of him. Wow, man, like what adherence to the Constitution, Mr. Coons. That's a bang up job you're doing there, and this reference to these people that are experts, and that sounds rather familiar. It sounds like the experts that said it couldn't have possibly come from the lab in China. Jeez.
Some of these agencies that are so sclerotic and wasteful that they are not able to function. So, okay, it would be great if both sides of this, because when I remember there being an active interest by Democrats in saying, what, we know that there's a lot of waste in our government. Now you're telling me there isn't.
Those days are over.
That's not at all what I said.
Yeah, it is.
I said in Social Security, the current Trump administration acting Social Security administrator has said publicly less than 1/10% of the Social Security payments are being improvident, are not being sent to people who are entitled to them.
Let's assume that you are 100% right.
I agree with you that there is waste and fraud in different federal programs, and sign me up for working in a measured bipartisan
Yeah, we're going to measure it by partisan way where we don't do a damn thing.
In Medicare,
well, you should talk to the people on the panel here because I think you'd be pretty impressed with many of them. I would ask you respectfully to take a look at this panel discussion because I found it very eye-opening. It's not a bunch of like nutty 25-year-olds, as you suggested. They're actually quite thoughtful, intelligent people who have a great record of it. So let me ask you this. If it's been run so well and it's working well, Social Security, why is it going to run out of money in 10 years? The whole idea is that the investment
Martha, I think
would return.
You already know
and what
the
are
answer
you
to
doing?
that.
What are you doing to make sure that it's solvent for your grandchildren and my grandchildren?
Nothing.
So, Martha, you already know the answer for why it is, at least in current accounting, proposed to be insolvent in 2035. That means it cannot pay the full benefits that those who have earned their way into Social Security beneficiary status are entitled to. That's because there are fewer people working and more people living longer than the model of the program provided for.
Yes, that's been true for quite some time.
It is an earned benefit, but like anything that is an earned benefit, there are actuarial tables that say we expect Chris Coons to live to 70.
It really would have been
but
nice if
instead,
somebody
people are living to 80.
gotten to work
and
on
so
that
they are
several years ago.
receiving more payments than the program was modeled around. There's basically only 4 levers for fixing Social Security, raising how much of our income is taxed by Social Security.
Oh, here we go. Here comes the pitch.
None of what you're saying is a shock. None of it was a shock during the entire Biden administration.
That's right.
I never heard anybody say that they wanted to change this system.
Because the priority was locking up
maybe
Trump.
Make it slimmer or more efficient or get rid of the waste in order to make it last.
Rejected by Republicans.
Oh, yeah. It was Republicans, of course.
Martha, the challenge is Democrats want to make 2 changes. Republicans want to make 2 changes. Each side doesn't like the other's changes. Raising the age of eligibility or raising how much of our income is taxed. For example, 2 simple things that would improve the solvency of Social Security for decades.
All right,
Democrats want to do one thing, Republicans want to do another.
Understood. I got to go, but I'm sure you agree that if someone is, I'm going to find out for you. I'm going to find out how many people are over the age of 100.
I can't take any more of this guy. This is just like, this is what I mean. And this is exactly, like, if you really kind of like just examine his entire demeanor during this entire conversation, he starts off immediately defensive, standoffish, completely looking to be defiant, looking to counter every single point that comes out. He states a bunch of ridiculous talking points they've been using since the very beginning, some of which have already been proven to be completely false, like the whole, these are all a bunch of kids from college that don't even know what they're doing, and da-da-da. I'm sorry, in the Brett Baer interview with Doge, and the representatives that were there for Doge, which there was like I don't know, maybe 15 guys there, maybe 20 at the most. There was Elon and about 15 or 20 guys that are at Doge that are working there. These guys were anything from stock traders, very wealthy entrepreneurs, businessmen. Once again, one of them was the owner of Airbnb. These are people with with one hell of a resume, and to dismiss them as this talking point of all these 20-year-old hotheads that aren't even out of college yet, and just a bunch of reckless kids is like, I'm sorry, if you watched the people that were there, first off, like one of them is talking about how his wife encouraged him, even though this is going to be something I'm not going to be paid for. Once again, they're not getting paid. They're not politicians. They're not looking to, start some sort of campaign or raise money for their next election. These are just guys that have successful businesses and are friends of Elon's. They got a call from him because he knows that they would be reliable and helpful in this endeavor. And I really could use some people that would be really intelligent and efficient in the way that they work and go through these all these different government agencies and see their budgets and see what they're spending money on, see if it's productive or not for us to be, actually spending our money here. That pretty much beats any Democrat or Republican senator or congressman in the entire freaking Capitol building, because, like I said, this is not some ploy to get any kind of tangible benefit, either in money or some sort of some sort of deal worked out with lobbyists, or like they're not gaining. As a matter of fact, once again, these are people who are getting all sorts of fucking death threats and once again, I've talked about this before. If you're someone who is going to put your name out there, especially in something really partisan or really divisive, it's part of the game. You're going to get death threats. Most of the time, they're from a bunch of stupid kids that think it's funny to do something ridiculous like that. They're not from anybody serious. They're not from anybody that's actually going to cause harm. However, that's not me at all condoning it. It's just the reality of the situation, and it's something that you have to live with, which is why I hate when people use that, and that's not what Doge is doing. So that's my point. When people, especially like people who already are expecting sympathy from every angle, like Taylor Lorenz or some stupid bitch like that, it's horrifying to get all these death threats on the line. It's, okay, I'm sorry, don't work for a newspaper then, you stupid broad. Like, if you're gonna have controversial, if you're gonna have a controversial opinion and you're going to put that in a national publication, sorry, you're gonna get some threats. That's what happens to everybody in the public eye. They get threats. And I'm sorry, but someone like you, or someone like almost any member of Congress that somehow manages to earn way more than their congressional salary, I think you can afford a little bit of that that check that's magically appearing in your financial earnings. I think you can use a little bit of it for a little enhanced security, and because God forbid anybody talk about learning how to use a firearm to defend themselves in any kind of real situation. Meanwhile, people like Rand Paul and his wife, who actually have been beat up on the side of the street by a bunch of radicals who probably were inspired by people like this asshole to go attack conservatives, or nutcases like Maxine Waters, who literally told people to get in the faces of conservatives and chase them out of any business that they go into. When they get their asses freaking beat up to hell on the side of the street, not a word of sympathy from Chris Coons, not a word of support from anyone in the Democrat Congress or Senate. It's unbelievable. And yet they don't have any perspective. They never can show 1 ounce of actually even considering the possibility that maybe, just maybe, there's something that, but that's part of the game. And this is why it's so impossible to work inside this, unfortunately, this system that has worked for the United States since its founding is completely falling apart now. And it's falling apart because the Democrats decided we're going to be hive-minded. We're not going to do anything without the approval. We're going to treat this like it's, you're not so-and-so representative from this state. You are now Democratic Senator, blah, 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 and we are going to tell you how you're going to vote. We are going to tell you what you're going to support. We are going to tell you the bills that you're going to co-sponsor. Like, there's nothing that's not overseen by the Democrat Party as a whole that isn't first approved by the upper leadership. And you can tell by the way that people like Hakeem Jeffries and fucking Chuck Schumer and every one of the freaking degenerates at the top of the heap in the Democrat Party, the way that they prioritize things, and see exactly why that freaking party does not ever, like, well, just for an example, I have one more clip. We'll wrap it up after this. And I'm sorry, this was a weird sort of sort of show today. I wasn't sure exactly where I was going to go with this, but I knew what I more or less wanted to focus on because this was all stuff that I haven't been able to talk about yet, and it's just been. It just had to. I just had to get to it because it's the most important that is still relevant, but is kind of getting overshadowed by the tariff situation and some of the other stuff that's going on. Because here's the thing, Doge is getting to a point where they're getting kind of close to finishing up their overall evaluation of most of the agencies, and I'm sure when it gets to a point to discuss what their total findings are with. I'm hoping that whoever they end up presenting it to, whether it is in a private or a public forum, that we hear some kind of word from. I mean, I'm sure we'll hear from Trump, but and I'm sure we'll hear from a lot of the top members of the cabinet. But it would be nice to hear from somebody that wasn't kind of hands-on or instrumental in forming them. Like I'll say right now, like Harriet Hageman is one person who's been really, really interested in keeping up with what Doge is finding, which she's a pretty solid congresswoman. So she's usually, especially on the more fiscal side of things, she's a little bit of a hound for the financial sins, I guess, of the federal government. But I really hope that is the case because the amount of time and effort and money and the fact that, as I said, not just the team, but Elon himself, look at what he's had to go through for just getting involved in this. He's had a bunch of his businesses destroyed and torched. He's had a bunch of his cars torched. Someone was talking about this, too. This is another fun little fact about the left and their shenanigans. They're super like making sure the environment is staying clean and staying as safe as we can make it. Those batteries that are in Teslas and in pretty much every electric vehicle, you know what happens when there's a fire with one of those batteries? Yeah, that is one hell of a toxic soup. That creates one hell of a freaking nightmare of, ecological disaster, I guess would probably be the best name for it. And yet, there they go, burning cars, burning Teslas, and let's burn lithium batteries. Yeah, that's a fantastic idea because we're trying to save the planet. Like, first there was the Nord Stream 2 sabotage, which was, that was a grand idea, wasn't it? Let's release more natural gas into the atmosphere than any time in human history. That's fantastic. And now let's burn down a bunch of Tesla dealerships and burn the cars that have the lithium batteries in them and burn the batteries. Because, of course, when the car goes up, the battery's going to be burned too. And also, there's also one other fun little fact about that too, is that like you can't just use a hose or even a fire extinguisher or anything like that because a chemical fire like that just doesn't go out. You have to smother it with a special type of material that they don't always carry with them, and some fire departments, as far as I've heard, don't even have the ability to keep those on hand for these weird random occasions where you're going to have a lithium fire. So it's rather thoughtful of them to make sure that it has the maximum possible environmental disaster as well as having serious like there's a clip I won't play this one, but I could see when Elon was discussing the fires at the Tesla dealerships and the people that work there and people shooting guns at the business, and it's like you could tell by the tone of his voice and the look in his eye, like it wasn't about the finances. It wasn't even about the symbolism. It was about the fact that the company itself was an American company that worked hard to get where they were, and the people that worked there were good people that were trying their best to to provide a service that was unique and exciting and revolutionary for the people of the United States, and it was really something that was unlike any other country in the world and any other business in the world, and to have people that are ideologically driven by no other reason than to hate Donald Trump and anything that he does, because according to them he's Hitler reincarnated or whatever the fuck they come up with. To have people like that have no clue at all what's happening. They have no idea what is going on. They think that they actually think that Elon is trying to go through Medicare recipients and steal their money. This guy who's got more money than anybody potentially he may be the most wealthy man on the planet, but he needs grandma's money, and he really needs that Social Security money. Oh man, but he's not going to be able to live without it. To think that people are fucking dumb enough to believe that that's what his motivation is for doing this, for devoting his time and a huge amount of effort and allowing his name to be buried by anyone who is allied with leftist nut jobs like these. To have open season go on at dealerships of his vehicles that, as he said, it's a peaceful company that's never done anything to harm anybody, never encouraged harm to go to anybody. People that work there are all very friendly, hardworking, and good people. They don't deserve this. He didn't say anything about himself. He said everything about the businesses and his employees and how they didn't deserve it. And it was like, you could tell it really bothered him, and it wasn't about him. You won't see that from any fucking jerk off on the left that is encouraging stupid shit like this. And it's gotten, I'll have to get to this later, but I mean, we're back at the stage, ladies and gentlemen, where they are unapologetically now supporting murderers yet again. And basically, we're right back to Michael Brown and then George Floyd, and let's take the side of the career criminals and the people who were doing something really stupid or really careless or trying to pull the wool over the eyes of police officers, or in the case of Michael Brown, trying to take the police officer's fucking firearm from him, and then act like it was hands up. Hands up, don't shoot. Hands up when he got shot in the hand for trying to reach for the cop's gun. That was the only time there was hands up. But we're back to those levels because guess what's going on? First, there was Luigi Mangione, the guy who apparently is worth idolizing because he shot a guy who was just a family man, but he had the unforgivable sin of being on the board of a health insurance company. Whatever you feel about health insurance companies or however you... Oh, the camera just turned off. Why did it just turn off? Hold on. That's weird. Oh, no. Wait a minute. What? Oh, it's zoomed out. There we go. Oh, I hope you got a good look at my room. That's covered by the green screen. But no, okay, so this piece of trash that walked up behind this guy like a coward and shot him in the head for the unforgivable sin of participating in a business that sold health insurance, he's worth celebrating. And now, even worse, the case of the kid that I think it was high school. Was it high school or was it? I think it's high school. This young kid that got stabbed by this guy who, because he's black and because the guy he stabbed was white, they have immediately already decided that no, this is just blaming him for the same thing that they let. This is what they're comparing it to. They're comparing him to Kyle Rittenhouse. I shit you not, and of all things, what's his name? The guy that put that was on the subway that had to use the chokehold on the homeless nut job. Daniel Penny. They're comparing that to Daniel Penny, a guy who was in the wrong tent. It was a rainy day, apparently. I heard all these details finally later. It was a rainy day. There's a bunch of tents on both. It was a sporting event. There's tents on both sides. This guy was in the wrong tent. He just didn't want to move because he didn't want to go out in the rain. And because he was in the wrong seat, when the guy that was looking for the seat came and said, "Hey, this is my seat," he reaches over to his bag, says, "Oh, do something, find out." And he's like, "What?" And like it escalates into a situation where he's trying to physically get him out of the tent to get his seat, and he gets stabbed in the heart because of it. He gets stabbed in the heart because he wanted his own seat. And what does he do? Well, of course, reflexively, like a coward, the guy runs, throws the murder weapon, and takes off running. But of course, he gets busted. He asks the cops that are interrogating him if there's any potential for this to be a self-defense case. And then they have the gall to set up a gift send go for him, and it manages to raise over $100,000 from asswipe, know-nothing pieces of trash that would actually give money to some psychotic murderer. Like, yeah, that's what we're back to. We're back to this. We're back to the virtues of black people for nothing other than their skin color, and open season on anyone that's man, am I just not going through on YouTube today because they don't like what I'm saying or something? I really should wrap it up. I don't even think I can play. Oh, I can do this real quick. I'll just I'll play this real quick and we'll call it a day, because this may put into perspective one last thing, because when I heard this, I was kind of angry, obviously. But this is a humble brag here from Mr. Schumer, Senator Schumer, or Minority Leader Schumer, whatever you prefer, about how proud he is. How proud he is that during their majority, they were able to confirm this amount of judges. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it exciting that the Democrats, while they had the majority, were able to ram through this huge number of activists and leftist, demonstrators and God knows what, who are completely and totally loyal still, no matter what they said in their confirmation hearings. Because, I mean, you had people like Senator Kennedy and Senator Cruz that were reading off line after line after line from their Twitter and their X and their Twitter and then X, or their Instagram, or their this or their that, about their insane views on DEI and their insane views on racial quotas and equities and all this other horseshit that they feel is so important. And now we're supposed to assume that they're all going to be completely impartial from the bench. Yeah, I'm sure. That's why Chuck Schumer is literally bragging about how many of these partisan hacks they were able to get over the finish line. Here we go. Here it is. Over their time in the majority in the Senate.
This clip from PBS the other evening.
In fact, I'll just get right to it because I don't remember how long this is, but
and take a look, then we'll expand on it. Go.
There are those who believe that we are, in real time, living through an assault on the constitutional order. Do you believe that we are in a constitutional crisis right now?
Yes, our democracy is at risk because Donald Trump shows that he wishes to violate the laws in many, many different ways. The good news here is we did put 235 judges, progressive judges, judges not under the control of Trump last year on the bench, and they are ruling against Trump time after time after time. And we hope that the appellate courts, when it gets up there in the Supreme Court, will uphold those rulings. They restored the money to NIH.
Now, why is this important?
Well, it's important, Mark. We all know why it's important on this one, because if you just watch one hearing with these people, and you'll know why. They are they're we'll put it this way: if you were a conservative and you were going before these judges, yeah, you would be fighting tooth and nail to make sure that nobody said anything about your political alignment when you showed up, because good Lord, if anything got out, which it probably will, they've got enough people, I'm sure, digging around through everything you've ever said on social media to find out what alignment you're in politically. And if these judges find out, oh boy, best of luck to you, because these aren't judges, these are Democrat operatives that they put on the bench to make sure, like he just admitted on live television, they're hopefully going to rule against Trump time and time again, because they can say that on the media and the media doesn't care. Now, like Dr. Phil said at the very beginning of this episode, they think you're stupid, and they have not one reason to even pretend like there's any kind of hint of a desire to remain neutral for people they elect to the bench to be acting in any way, shape, or form like they're going to be impartial to both the parties. And that's a scary situation to be in for anybody that ends up in a courtroom in the United States, to know that the judge you're getting in your case is going to probably not want to rule in your favor by the fact that, you know, when she was confirmed, or he was confirmed in front of Congress, it was pretty much a given that he's going to rule against pretty much every conservative he ever sees, and he's going to give every Democrat a slap on the wrist and no cash bail and just about every benefit he can give them. Going to give them way below the recommended sentencing, maybe let them off completely, who knows. They don't really care about the rules all that much, so they're going to do whatever they want. They're proud of this shit. And then, you know, there's people that actually wonder why we have this complete distrust of the government and complete distrust of, even now, the judicial system, and why everyone was so thrilled when, at first, when it seemed like there was a pretty solid bench that we had, at least at the Supreme Court, that could block the most radical stuff, but then suddenly Amy Coney Barrett discovered her inner Democrat and is now, most of the time, ruling. She just ruled with the minority, at least it was a minority this time, about the deportation flights that had come up before the Supreme Court. We dodged a bullet on that one, because if they had pulled the same stunt they pulled the last time there was something important in front of them, I mean, at least, you know, who was it? Judge, it wasn't Gorsuch or Kavanaugh. It was, and then Justice Roberts sided with the majority. But somebody, I can't remember who it was now. They wrote the minority dissent, and I can't remember what case it was, but was it on? No, that wasn't it. That was it. Anyway, whatever it was really shocking to see they voted that way, and of course, Amy Coney Barrett sided with the people who were siding against. I mean, it was a completely unconstitutional way of handling the case. They just looked at it in a way that was so stupid that it was obvious that we're gonna, and you know, that can win the day sometimes, but once the Supreme Court starts to lose sight of the mission statement and the idea of basing their judgment on the Constitution, and in favor of, I mean, that's how you get decisions like Roe v. Wade. That's how you get decisions like Plessy versus Ferguson. You know, separate but equal, or abortion on demand for anything up until the moment of birth. That's how you get decisions like that. When you have people that ignore the Constitution and the intent behind our founding documents in favor of what they describe as a living document that can be reinterpreted to mean not even something different, but something totally opposite later. So, anyway, I'm going on too long, talking about too many subjects. Sorry about that, but it's good to be back. I hope I'm back tomorrow. I'll see what I can do, but like I said, everything's shaky. Although I need to finish this discussion up now because this is just part one. Part two, if I get into it tomorrow, we'll be actually looking at the actual Doge work that has been going on, and we'll kind of go over some of the actual what is it? There's something from Victor Davis Hanson analyzing the situation and analyzing the stances that, you know, some other party would or could take if they were really seriously trying to oppose Trump's agenda and not just make a statement politically about how evil Trump is, or if they were trying to win some sort of policy debate. And then there's also a couple other clips about just the absolute shattering of this sort of ability that we've had in the past to keep things that were political in their own category, where you fought your battles and you fought them hard, and you fought them, you know, with the best reasoning you could fight them with, and then when you're done, you put the politics aside and you had a good time and discussed with your friends all the other things that were going on. And now, if you have the wrong politics, you know, you're going to get stabbed, or you're going to get your vehicle burned or keyed up or slashed up or tires cut, or like Laura Loomer, or all the other fun stuff that's happened to anybody that got found out in the wrong spot and ended up on the wrong side of beating or worse. And all of a sudden now it's, and they argued that this is First Amendment protected, debate. Once again, showing they have no idea and no understanding of what free speech and the First Amendment actually guarantee and are.